Hi, I'm Todd Bagwell. I'm from Bartlett, Tennessee. I've been playing disc golf for about 8 years now. I've been playing in the open field for I guess the past 3 years. So I'm pretty new to Team Prodigy as of 2015. I've been using Prodigy discs for about 1.5 years now, and switching over to a full Prodigy bag has been a pretty seamless transition for me, coming from throwing a mixed bag. I started out with just some putters and really took a quick liking to the putters that they had, and eventually my whole bag ended up getting swapped out. And so by the time 2015 came around, I was already throwing a full Prodigy bag, and I was ready to go for the 2015 season. For me, the most important part of my game is my putting, so I figure we can start with the putters that I like to use. I like to use the PA3s. My favorite plastic so far has been the 300 series, just because of how grippy they are. They tend to be a little bit softer, and for me with my spin putt, they tend to grip into the chains a little bit better than some of the other plastics. So I've got two twin 300 series PA3s that I use for putting. Going on to my throwing putters, I've got a 400 series PA2. It's got good overstability to it. I can really crank on it pretty good, and know that it's going to have a nice finish to the left every time. I've got a little bit of a beat-in PA3. This is a 350 series. It's just a little bit older. It's good for really good straight shots. I like to use it for approaches. One that's slightly overstable is a little bit newer 350 series PA3. And then for those understable shots, those nice dead straight approach shots, I like to use the 300 series PA4. Moving on to my mid-ranges. I've got a really nice 400 series M1 for very overstable shots. I've got a 750 M2. Both of those are used for overstable shots, anywhere from about 360 and in. Then I move on to my 400 series M3. The M3 is probably one of my favorite mid-ranges overall. I've got 3 of them in my bag, but this one's my 400, slightly overstable, very consistent. I've got a 750 M3 as well. I like to use this for shots when I need a shot to hold that particular line and count on it every time. So I can throw it for hyzers, straight shots, and anhyzer shots, and know that it's going to hold that line. I like to use a 350 M3 for shots with a little bit of tailwind, because it's going to be consistently straight the entirety of the flight of the disc. And then for my understable shots, I've got a 750 M4 as well as a 400 M4. On to my fairways, my hybrids. For short range rollers, I actually like to use the D5. I like to throw roller shots that are inside of 400 feet with this disc, and know that it's going to consistently finish to the right when I'm throwing it backhand. From there, I move on to a 400 series F2. I like to use it for hyzer flip-up shots, and know that it's going to finish straight. If I throw it hard and flat, it's got a slight turn to the right, but it's consistent every time I throw it. And then I move on to my F1. I like to use it for straight shots and something with a slight left finish at the end. This one's a 400 series as well. And this is the new H3. Very good disc. I use it for shots that are inside of about 375 feet or so, that finish to the left. This has got a good consistent overstability to it. It's something that's going to have a lot of glide as well, and so I've tended to use this disc a lot since it's come out. And then from there I move on to my 750 H2. For me, this is a really overstable disc. Doesn't quite have as much glide for me as the H3, so I tend to use this one for very windy conditions and know that it's going to finish left every single time. From there I move on to my distance drivers. For longer range rollers, I like to use the 400G D4. It's got good understability. I can count on it every time to flip over and end up well for a roller shot. From there, I move on to a 400G D3. This one's a little bit older. It's been in my bag probably longer than any other disc in my bag, and it's got a consistent hyzer flip up, and then it'll finish right the entire way. So a lot of times if I need maximum distance, I'll use that in a tailwind condition. From there, I'll move on to a newer 400 D3. I use this one for, I release it on a hyzer, let it pop up to flat, and then it has a slight left finish at the end. So I use this one for maximum distance drives. From there, I move on to a little bit older D1. It's a 400 series D1. I use it for long straight shots, usually over about 400 feet or so. This one has a tendency to finish just a little bit straighter, just because of it's a little bit older, it's a little bit more worn in. So for shots where I need something that's a little bit more overstable, has a little bit harder finish to the left, these three discs are my workhorses. I've got my Grit and Grind D1. It's a little bit newer D1, and these are the discs that I go to in headwind conditions, in conditions where I need it to consistently finish to the left every time and not ever have to worry about it. So that's a newer D1. I've got a little bit older, this is a really flat D1, very overstable, can always finish left, and I can count on it every time. And then I've got a 750 X1. This is one of my go-to shots, especially if I need something that's going to have a nice skip finish to the left at the end of the flight. I use this for big flare skips as well. So that's pretty much my discs, what I'm throwing in my bag right now.